So we will finish. We ought to be able to finish with the bubble diagram, and then I'm going to show you what's called a block diagram, which is a scale drawing. And I did a little sketch, rather messy, but that kind of illustrates how the bubble diagram works. Of course, it got all tangled up, but you get the idea. So in a sense, this is a drawing of the house. I entered in the driveway, and then the driveway leads me to the garage, and then the garage then goes to the entry from the garage. You don't need to make one of these. You can if you feel like it. But the idea, the entry from the garage, right, leads to, one way leads to the stair. It also sorry, I did not prepare. I should have disentangled this. That entry allows me to go either to the stair, right? Alternatively, to the elevator. I can take the elevator into the building. And that elevator, take my word for it, these are correctly connected. The elevator on level 1 goes to the elevator on level 2. And then from there, I can go to the living room, then the dining room, the kitchen, in a sense, this is a drawing. This is a bubble diagram drawing of that building. It is not a. It's not a terribly elegant one, but the idea is that you can construct something like this so that, just to quickly illustrate what I did with that. Took the elevator on 1, to the elevator on 2, dining room, could also connect to the living room. So that's the bubble diagram. It shows relationships.
So were we supposed to create a bubble diagram?
Yeah, you're going to make a drawing that looks like, I'm very flexible into how that can appear. I mean, I've showed you examples of those, but you basically want to identify, the parts of this that we identified last week, because you'll need to construct something like that. If you want to try it with something else, I don't object to, like, if you find it boring to work with this and you want to work from, say, floor plans in a magazine that you've seen, or from a history class, or something that explain a particular work of architecture that you're interested in. It's an easy exercise. It's not a very difficult exercise, but you just have to be careful how you do it. And you remember, some people suggested rooms that we didn't have, right? An office area that wasn't there. We identified an area that might be the hall that negotiates between the bathroom, if you go in that direction, or the bedroom. I can show you what some look like. Let me see if I have, this is a very simple one. This is an example of a block. The block diagram that sets aside a certain amount of space. You just we're tracing over the drawing. Again, these are backing into a plan that's already there. It's really easy to do that sort of thing. Let me share my. Do you guys need me to draw this? I mean, do you have enough information that you can manage that, or the questions about it? I mean, it's a pretty straightforward. It's not very exciting diagram, but it's necessary to identify all of the parts of what you're programming. Because at some point, you have to attach to all this square footage. And that's what I hope to begin to try to draw today. I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can give it.
Sandra, since we drew level 1 of the floor plan last week, do you want us to like work on level 2 now?
Yeah, you mean you only did level 1. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're the focus is the kitchen. The whole sequence, you get into the house, you enter the house at level 1, right? There's not much that happens besides entering the garage through the garage or through the back entry. Then you get up into the living area. So yes, you want to add that into your bubble diagram. Everybody seems to have succeeded in creating the website. So if you like, if you want to show me a work in progress, just pin or post your picture of your current drawing to the to a page for Folio 2. Folio 2, I think I just called it kitchen plan and section drawings. I mean, it includes some diagramming. Well, let me show you what is left. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to find a smaller drawing. This is what we did last time. We basically did both floors, right? So you're gonna give me a drawing that's a much better looking drawing than this. I'm reticent to draw it for you because I don't want you to simply copy what I'm doing. I want you to think through how you get through this house, right? Because that's the exercise. The value in the exercise is understanding the sequence of events, the storyboard that happens, right? When you're going to be programming space, or you're going to do a studio, a residential design studio, or a commercial, some kind of a commercial space, a tea house, or something like that. Though that is this type of analysis is common to all of those design problems. I'll find the smaller plan. Oh, here it is. I think we looked at this as well last week. So you have level 1 and level 2. If you want to draw it, it doesn't matter because you're tracing on top of this. Again, we're describing space that's already arranged, so the exercise is rather simple. But you could think of this also. Imagine I had graph paper. So now I'm going to talk about block diagrams. These are scale drawings. What I'm going to draw today, I'm going to draw manually, but when I start to introduce some of the digital tools, I'll show you how to compose them with those as well. That means that one unit, what does scale mean? Right? Everyone has taken digital orthographic, so you know something about scale from composing an AutoCAD drawing. So the drawing that I have in front of me here is 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. That means in paper, space, this is equal to, in real life, right, which is the model, 1 foot. I'm surprised I don't have an architect scale here. But what that means, 1/4 inch equals a foot. That means that if I measure unfortunately, this drawing is distorted because let me make sure of that. Yeah. What I did was I fit this to the page, so I didn't print at 100% scale. So this is somewhat reduced, right? But let me give you a better example. These drawings, which you have as well, these drawings are 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. So that means if I wanted to measure from this part of the kitchen to the wall, and on paper, that distance is 3 7/8 inches. I would divide that by 1/2, and that's going to give me the distance from here to here. So what do I mean divide that by 1/2? I have 3 7/8 inches. Tell me if I'm doing a mathematical calculation that you don't understand, but I'm assuming a gentle understanding of math. 3 7/8. You could use a calculator, right? If I were doing it manually, converting 3 7/8 I would multiply 3 times 8, 24 plus 7 is 31 over, it's 31/8. And dividing that by a half is the same as multiplying by 2. So 2 times 31 over 8 is 62 over 8. Equals 7.75 feet. Right? Every half inch in this drawing equals a foot. How big is this square? How big is that? How many square feet is it?
1.
1 square foot, right? How many square feet is this?
Two.
Yes, because
4.
one side is 2 feet in real life, right? In the drawing, it's 1 inch, but I have 2 half inches here, and every half inch represents a foot, right? The tiles in the bathroom are actually 8-inch tiles. I think they are, yeah. So that if I count 4 of them, I have 16 half inches, right? Is that right? Let me see. 8 and 8, 16 over 12. That would convert that to feet, right? That's 16 inches over 12. That's 1.3 feet. 1 1/3 feet. And then I multiply that by 1.33 feet. So that's about 1.77 square feet. Now, when I'm doing a block diagram, I'm basically penciling out a part of the drawing, but I'm not doing every nook and cranny. If I decide that I want a kitchen that is 8 by 10 feet, which is about what I'm looking at here in a block diagram. Let me see if I leave this. It just about covers those areas. This is much easier if you have an architect rule, because you can read it from the scale, and I'll find one before the end of class. But I'm basically, so kitchen, 80 square feet. That means it's going to be roughly 8 feet this way and 10 feet that way, right? At half-inch scale, what is 8 feet is going to be about 4 inches. And 10 feet is going to be 5 inches. 5 inches is about there. So this drawing, that's my 80 square feet kitchen. Right? How big is the bathroom? How many square feet is that bathroom? Let's do an easier one. Hall. Three and a half inches by 2.5 inches. So 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Another way of thinking about half-inch scale, we're working at half-inch equals 1 foot. That means 1/2 inch equals 12 inches. How many inches is 1 foot? This was my first, right? 1/2 inch is a foot. The second step I made here, 1/2 inch is 12 inches. 3. How many inches is 1 inch? At half-inch scale, 1/2 inch equals a foot. You guys understand what I'm asking? Did you go through this in digital orthographics? Did you make calculations about scale? Don't worry if you don't understand it and you need to ask me about it. It's not a big deal. Right? So 1 inch is actually going to be 24 inches, because 1 inch at half-inch scale represents 2 feet. How do I do that? Let's do that on a separate piece of paper. 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. So what we're trying to understand is units in paper space equals how many units in real life? You want to compare to arrive at a multiplier, you want to convert these to the same number of units. So the next step is going to be 1/2 inch equals how many inches in a foot, right? Is 12 inches. Now I want to arrive at how do I determine how many inches does 1 inch represent in paper space? And the way I do that is multiply both sides of this by 2, because I want that to become 1. So I have to multiply both sides by 2. So 2 times 1/2 inch is 1 inch. 2 times 12 inches is 24 inches. So any unit in paper space at 1/2 inch scale has to get multiplied, and the unit, if we're talking about inches, has to get multiplied by 24. If we have 1 foot, if we measure a foot in paper space, then I have 24 feet in real life. Okay, here's an exercise for you now. What if I have 1/4 inch scale? 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. This is a multiplier, right? That means 1 unit is 24 units, 1 to 24. How do I figure this out for a 1/4 inch scale? And 1/8 inch scale?
You just multiply it by 4, 8,
So what's the multiplier here?
4.
Let's go through the same process. 1/4 inch equals 12 inches. See what I'm doing here? 1/4 inch equals 12 inches. I want this to be 1 inch. What do I multiply it by? I have to multiply it by 4, right? I think that's what you meant. I'm just taking it to the, I'm to determine the multiplier. Yes, I have to multiply both sides by 4. So this becomes 48. So for 1/4 inch scale, the multiplier is 1 to 48. 1 unit at 1/4 inch scale is 48 units in real life. For 1/8 inch scale, what is this going to be? What's this number going to be, the multiplier?
$64.
Nope.
Is it 96?
Yep, it's 96. And how do I arrive at 1/8 inch equals 12 inches? Then I got to multiply, to make this an inch, I have to multiply it by 8, both sides of the equation. Is this called algebra? Or high school was so long ago, I don't remember. Do they call this algebra or just plain old math? I don't even remember, but it's something like that. It's math, right? Don't be embarrassed if you don't quite understand it. You need to brush up on it a little bit, but a little like one or two, if you solve one or two of these, just makes it really easy afterwards. So you multiply both sides by 8. 1 inch equals 96 inches. That's the same statement as this. Because it also, I can also represent this as 1 inch equals how many feet? It's 8 feet, right? 8 feet is 96 inches. That's the multiplier. Anybody from a country where you use meters? Anna, do you use meters in China?
Yes, we use the meters and the centimeters.
Okay. One
Can
second.
we do this in metric?
Can you do it in metric? You can do it in metric, but if your intention is never to work in a country that uses feet and inches, go ahead and do it in metric, and I'm going to talk a little bit about metric equivalence. So the closest thing to 1/8 inch scale in meters is 1 to 100 centimeters. That, for 1/8 inch scale, the closest thing in meters, let me explain why that's significant. I have to get a little prop. Sorry, these are little people. Cute little people. We use them in models. There's a little car. This car is 1/8 inch scale. Right? That means because the car is 2 inches long, to get the number of feet, I'd multiply by 8. To get the number of inches, I'd multiply by 96. So this car is about 16 feet long. It's 1/8 inch scale. These little people, they don't sell 1/8 inch scale people. Maybe you can find a site that do, but the people are 1 to 100. These people are 1 to 100. They're a little bit smaller than 1 to 96, but they're close. So the car is 1 to 96. metric. The closest thing to quarter-inch scale, Anna, you tell me, what's the closest thing to quarter-inch scale in metric?
I'm not sure.
1 to 50. Okay, it's not the same, but it's really, really close. Here, it would be 1 to 25. When you use AutoCAD, you'll see that many of the plot tables that convert drawings, they use these numbers. Okay, what do I mean by 1 centimeter is 100 centimeters? I don't remember the conversion, but I can look it up on the internet because you can look up everything on the internet. 100 centimeter in inches (100 centimeter) equals 39.3 inches. Is that right? Yeah. I don't think it's very useful to know that, so never mind. I don't know what I was trying to do. Basically, this is the multiplier. That 1 to 100 scale is about the same as 1/8 inch scale, and 1 to 50 in metric is about 1/4 inch scale. Most residential work is drawn at 1/4 inch scale. Commercial is drawn at 1/8 inch. Residential 1/4 inch. Can somebody guess why there might be that difference?
Commercial spaces are generally larger than a residential.
Yes, yeah, very good. You're usually working with a lot more space when you're doing commercial work, and you can't represent it adequately, usually at 1/4 inch scale. You run out of room. Now, when I teach construction documents, which I'll probably have you in at some point, I explain that for the purpose of teaching construction documents, I use 1/4 inch scale so that we can look at something really closely. But generally, 1/4 inch for commercial work is considered enlarged. Enlarged view of commercial. Residential, that's normal. Then the other thing that I haven't included in these drawings that's a very useful is called a scale bar. And that occurs on a piece of paper, and it looks like let me get one in front of me so I don't have to guess. Here are some drawings that I did for condominiums. These drawings were done at 1/2 inch, 1/8 inch scale. However, they appear to be describing residential property. Why do you think these were drawn at 1/8 inch scale? Let me explain something about this building. This is at the ground floor. It's a brownstone building, tall building. Brownstone, well, not terribly tall, maybe 40 feet. In the south end of Boston, brick building with a neat little bow front. You've seen them all over the place. The ground floor and the level in the basement represent one unit. So this is the upstairs and downstairs. I can make these drawings available to you as well if they're useful. I mean, I know we keep coming back to this boring drawing. There's much more interesting stuff to do, but I like using the same drawing so we don't get confused. This is what's called the scale bar. Can I zoom in on, how can I zoom in on that? Nothing comes easily, does it? I'm picking it up, put it close to you. So from 0 to 4, that measures at 1/8 inch scale. From 0 to 8, this is 1 inch. You see how that's 2 inches long? And that represents 16 feet at 1/8 inch scale. Very important to include, well, two things on a plan drawing: a scale bar and a north arrow. Now, I said before, okay, so the ground floor level and the basement level represent one unit in this building. That's unit A1, floor G and 1. The second floor is just one apartment. You go up and down the stairs over here. Unit 2, scale bar, north arrow. floor is a duplex. Everybody know what a duplex is? Split level, up and down. Unit 3, lower level, upper level. Why did I draw these at 1/8 inch scale? Come on, Caitlin, you know the answer. You just told me. Even though this is this is commercial building because it's more than one unit, right? If I were just describing a single dwelling unit, I need all this paper. This stuff is expensive. This is what's called Mylar. These are drawings that get filed with the state. When somebody buys a condominium, somebody's going to pay $1 million for this. Not me. They paid me to draw them. I wish I were paid, you know, a percentage of what the owner received in you know, in a price. Anyway, so the exception here is that a building that's multifamily is considered commercial. And you need, the way to think about it, your instincts are right. The way to think about it is if I need a lot of paper to draw it, if it represents a lot of space, it's very likely to be commercial work. So scale bar every few years, somebody guesses the correct answer to this. What is the most important reason to include a graphic like this in the drawing? Does everybody understand what this is? If I take a piece of string and go from here to here, right, in my drawing, and then I take that measurement in my drawing, that represents 16 feet. Everybody understand that? Why is it important? Why would it have been really useful to have had a scale bar on this drawing? So why is it critical? What's the most important reason to include a scale bar in your drawings?
So they know like how many or like how big to build things, or like the walls and stuff.
That's true. That's the function of it. It explains how much an interval like that on paper represents in real life. But what is the reason to include it on a drawing? What can happen in real life to a drawing? What happens all the time? I'll give you a hint. Begins with the letter C.
Do people cut it up so you can't see the scale on the bottom?
No, that's not what I was thinking of. Okay, there are four letters to the word. First letter is C.
Code.
The second letter is O, but the third is not D.
Copy.
Very good. What happens when you copy something? you put something, maybe you guys have used a copier. I'm not that old that a copier is still an antique instrument like a typewriter. Every time you run something through a copier, it gets distorted. It is, some copiers enlarge something, some copiers make it smaller. Contractors are notorious for taking drawings and using this other machine, which you may have seen pictures of. They use that thing, right? When I first saw a fax, it was the bank called up another bank to and spit out my signature. I think the year was 1979, and I was amazed that they called one bank and they got this picture over the telephone wire of my signature. Contractors love to fax things to each other, and a fax absolutely distorts. Distortion. I took this drawing, and when I printed it, it was actually an 11 by 17 drawing, and I told the printer, fit to page. And what does that do? It makes it smaller. If I had a scale bar on this, the scale bar would become smaller as well. And I could take the string to the scale bar and figure out how big things are. Does that make sense to you guys? This is important stuff because it seems like I'm dramatizing it, but I want to present it to you guys in a way that you don't forget what these things mean. And if it ever comes up, you're going to be expected, among other things, to be literate in reading architectural drawings. You're going to be expected to understand how to read an architectural drawing. Okay, I know that was a long distraction, but I think now that, you know, armed with that understanding, knowing that every inch here represents 24 inches or 2 feet, right? I know that the 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches is 7 by 2 inches is 4 feet, 5 feet. Or 35 square feet. The bathroom, right? I'm not going in every nook and cranny. It's going to be the sum of the parts. You break it up into 2. You can measure it. If you were drawing this in AutoCAD, so I have 6 inches by 2.5. I'll figure it out in a little bit, but bath. Closet is usually 2 feet in depth. Anybody know why a closet is 2 feet deep? Closed closet. You want to guess? I'll give you a hint. Wait a minute. You know what these things are? Skylar, what's this?
It's a hanger.
Yeah.
So can I take a guess?
Yeah.
I feel like it's because that's the space you need for like coats and your clothes and to have enough space for them to close.
Yeah. Hangers are about 18 inches. You need about 12 inches from either side of the center of this to comfortably hang, right? Not all clothes are thin like this, right? That you don't need much room. But if you have a coat, or if you want to hang your mink fur in a closet, you need a little bit more room. So generally, even in construction, why do you think plywood? Does everybody know what plywood is? You know what plywood is. Why do you think plywood comes in 4x8 sheets? 4 feet by 8 feet plywood. Why is it 8 feet sheet? 8. That's 32 square feet or 4 feet wide by 8 feet. Why do you think?
Is 8 feet like the common height of ceilings?
No, many ceilings, it's typical in a lot of homes, but that isn't the reason the plywood is. Both dimensions are important. That's the size that a carpenter can comfortably handle. I'm not going to say I have trouble, depending on the thickness of the plywood. I would have trouble carrying a piece of 4x8 ply very high, but I can spread my arms out to 4 feet, right? And carry that thing. Gypsum wallboard, building materials tend to be the scale that people can use. You're going to take a class called Human Factors, where you understand. Once you start to connect up all these things, I've said it before, I tell you 1,000 times, you're going to be bored with it. You pick the best profession in the whole world because all these things are connected together in these shapes. The observation about most ceilings are 8 is a good one. But when I'm putting wallboard on a ceiling, I usually let's say my ceiling was 12 feet. GWB is gypsum. Sometimes they call it drywall. When I'm placing it on a wall, it's typically staggered. And then fastened at the edges like this. This makes for a much more secure and what do I want to say? Highly reinforced constructions. You stagger pieces. Sometimes you need more than one coat, in which case you overlap. Again, when if I were to put 2 coats on of gypsum board here, I would make sure that the next coat, that the seams don't line up. So the second set, right, would have seams that don't overlap. That was in response to our most ceilings 8 feet. It's not terribly comfortable, but you can have a 8 foot high ceiling. If I were doing an 8 foot ceiling, the 8 feet would stop there, and you would still lay these out lengthwise like that. How many people have you guys have been able to acquire the color markers? Does everybody have access to those? So if I were to color code I might do something like that. Let me get some. Right. I mean, I'm not going nuts with the marker, just to sort of explain. Oh, five, that's 10 feet that way. I'm going to say that's 5 feet. And this way, 6, 7 feet here. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 feet there. So this is 25 square feet. This is 70 square feet. And I've got 70, that's 95 square feet. block diagram. This is a scale drawing. Bubble diagram. Not to scale. That's not a scale drawing. Represents relationship. That's not a very good drawing either. Where did I put it? What happens is drawings I don't like, I tend to toss around not very carefully. Bubble diagram, not to scale. Block diagram is scale drawing. Bubble, not to scale. Questions? Easy, right?
And we're doing this based off like the same floor plan from the bubble diagram, right?
Yes. And if that bores you and you wish to try that on a different, to explain something different, I would stick to some kind of residential drawing. But yes, you're going to describe those 2 floors and the activity that happens in those spaces. We have labels for those spaces. Technically, the hall is separate. You couldn't really call it part of the kitchen. And I know that the living begins over here somewhere, right? But it doesn't really, I really need to separate out that hall area. And then the bedroom is back there. Closet. This is just describing how much space we're using for these things. When you do schematic design, when you start to figure out how much space you need, you do this as a first pass. Let's take a little 10-minute break, and I'll look at some of we'll look at some of your work if you'd like me to do that. If there's something in particular you want me to see, I'm going to look at your websites. Okay.
Oh, no.
For the block diagrams, are we only supposed to do the second floor? Because we didn't get a copy of the ground floor.
I didn't send you a copy of it, but you can print it. Can you?
Okay, yeah.
You can also, you know, it doesn't have to be. Here's an idea, right? Take the second floor, put a piece of trace paper over it, look at the ground floor drawing, right? The stair is going to be in the same place. Elevator is going to be in the same place. It's just a wall, right? With doors on either side. So you can manage that. I think I did post it in, I posted the drawing in Blackboard, but I can send it to you if you prefer, or just, you know, just look at the drawing on let me see, let me make sure I have that on Blackboard. I'll share my I mean, there's not all that much happening on. Yeah, see this folder, floor plans? Right, the ground floor is not terribly complicated. You could probably figure out from that drawing, right, how many inches to, if you're going to use half-inch scale, right, you can, that would be a useful exercise. So work backwards from that. I'm not gonna measure it, you know. I just want to see that you understand what we've done here. All right, I want to show you something to give you guys an opportunity, and Anna as well, who is in a different time zone. So there are two more exercises, and these you're going to have a lot of fun with. There's spatial exercise 1 and 2. I'm going to show you how it works. You're going to find a picture in a magazine. Let me make this a little bit bigger. There I am, furtively looking through a magazine for a picture. I decided on a single point perspective, right? Knowing what we know, I'm just scribbling on it. I'm going to create a border that we call a spatial edge, and that's going to frame my drawing. This is really a lot of fun. It's fun to watch me at 10 times the speed at which I'm actually doing this, right? So I'm scribbling on here, marking up, there's the horizon, there's where I'm looking, there's where the lines converge, because that's going to help me create this drawing. And I outline, you see how that becomes, okay, I can never resist an opportunity to explain about ellipses, so I'm always doing that. You see how I'm using what I know, what I learned in the depth cube drawing to create this one. But I'm tracing elements that I'm looking at, right? Everybody's got a magazine, or you can find something, or newspaper, or something with a picture that be of interest. It doesn't matter. You don't have to worry that you're going to recreate what's there. You can improvise afterwards. Let's say I wanted to replace those lights with elliptical lights. Now I'm just drawing the elements that I see there because I've already got the armature. So do I expect for you guys to be able to do this at 10 times the speed of light here? No. I have a recording of this in Zoom, and it's about a 25-minute lesson. We don't have to introduce it now, but I wanted to show you how that works. So this is part 2, and this will come later. I took that drawing and scanned it, right? So I scanned it and then I printed it on white paper. So what's the fun in that? The thing about that is that now you have something you can mark up and colorize. And you can look at other pages. This happened to be in a design magazine that showed some of the finishes that were in there, even though I didn't bother precisely. I picked a color that was near the color that we're looking at. You don't have to do exactly what's in that drawing. I took liberty with the floor. This is a technique for drawing wood flooring by just placing straight lines and earth tones on the floor. I don't expect you to do both of these in one sitting. And before we do this, we will work up to, sort of applying color and then adding gray. That's basically what I'm doing, applying color, adding gray in the places to just sort of create, and then little highlights with pencil. You don't even have to be careful about it. They kind of look cool. Just adding really is not that difficult to do. I hope this demonstrates that to you. And you see how the ellipse representation of that table in the foreground becomes a framing element. That could be a person. It's really compelling when you do that with people. we're not going to work with color today, but what I hope to do is to give you the link. I believe is in Blackboard. If you click on Zoom meetings and you click on cloud recordings, I think I can rename these. Let's see if this is the one. Did I give you the links in Blackboard before, or did I send them to you on the email? Blackboard? All right. Oh my God, I'm going the wrong way. No, March. How could this be March 12? Oh, cloud recordings. February, March 2, March 2. All right, February 16th. I did 2 of them. This is March 2nd. All right, give me 1 minute. I'll share a different screen so you don't have to agonize over the. Actually, let me play that fast recording. Am I sharing a screen? No. Okay, so you're gonna find, we're gonna create a black and white trace drawing from a picture in a magazine, or a picture. You can find a picture on the internet, but it's a lot easier to work with an image in front of you. So you're gonna come up with some kind of black and white drawing like that. I'm looking, meanwhile, let me look for where I put those recordings. Served the house because it was meaningful to the town because of their history. So let me go a little further down. You can see. Okay, you know what? I will find that an email. I'm going to find it and email it to you. But basically, I'm going to start again. Don't worry if you don't follow along right now. It's not important. But I want to make sure that you understand how the exercise works. So I'm going to share my that. All right, I'm going to get a magazine. doesn't have to be an interior design magazine. It could be anything, right? Preferably, it takes up the entire page. That's an advertisement, but something like this could work. Let's say if I wanted to design a locker room, let me try to find something with somebody in the foreground.
Hey, Sandra, I had a
Yeah.
question about next week.
Yeah.
One of our teachers told us like the art classes were canceled for spring.
Oh, spring break. What day is that?
Well, they canceled classes on Wednesday, but then my drawing and like studio teacher said we don't have any art classes that week. So we were wondering like what your class is gonna look like.
You guys want to have class that week? You want to take a break, or do you want to have class?
I mean,
I
I'm
would
trying to
like
go
a
to
break.
Florida. So
Trying to go to Florida.
yeah.
Okay, we can take next week off, and I will send you the videos.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That sound good?
That sounds great.
Oh, what happened to my camera? Well, the all right, the battery's dead. Things are conspiring against me here, so we'll have to improvise. I'm gonna close that. That no longer works. Oh, I named them. Okay, so here they are: Spatial Edge, framing a picture from a magazine. So let me Part 1. Copy shareable link. And let me make sure. Can you hear sound? Yeah.
Magazine to a page I don't know. These are gray markers. So some gray colors. Maybe there's a stray red. I need blue or green.
Okay. So for the afternoon class, I'm gonna let you guys watch that. Oh, the YouTube, you have a link to my YouTube stuff, right? So you already have that. I will send you also a link to the second with the color, because we're going to miss next week. And in case you guys want to look ahead, copy shareable link. Includes color work. Now there's some things I'd like to work up to, but if some of you are so inspired, you can, and you get that far along, you can look at those. Anyway, this afternoon we'll be doing the black and white drawing trace from a magazine, all right? And call or write with questions, and I'll see you guys then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
you.
so much. Thanks.
Professor,
Yeah?
I have a question about our work right now.
Yeah.
So we have the bubble drawing,
Yeah.
and today's drawing, like
Yeah.
the work, this like just like copies same size with plain drawing, right?
Yeah, the block diagrams are the block diagrams are the scale. I can't put my camera on, but I think you saw that before, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So it's like first floor, like plain drawing, and the second
and the
floor.
second floor. Yeah.
So we just need to join the wall, or we need to draw like everything.
You don't need to draw the wall. You just need to draw a diagram that shows where the space is.
Okay, so it's just like the space, like how big is it?
Yes, how big it is. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Have
And
you? Go ahead.
you see.
Have you ever used Photoshop before?
No.
No. Okay.
Yes.
No, it
But
isn't. It's not necessary to do that. I just wondered because uh, I noticed that you had already done a website. That was very. I was really impressed that you had done that. You had already done your own website. That's really cool.
thank you.
When did you do that? The last semester or?
No, I just do it like when you send me the emails and I just
Oh, okay.
go to check, then yeah, then just finish it.
That's wonderful because I want to make sure that you have something, that you have something you can work from. So these videos, I hope help you. That way you can pause them and just do them at your own pace. Because
Yeah.
I have the feeling you work very fast. So I want to make sure that I have things that challenge you. But if you ever run out of things to do, you let me know because there's tons of things we can look at.
Okay. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
All right,
Because
hon.
I
You
just
take care.
I missed something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no worries. And write me if you have any questions, okay?
Yeah, and I have a question about bubble drawing because you show us some example when like today's class like beginning. So is this is just very easy to draw like where's the kitchen and the like living room or other like the dining room or something.
Yes, you're just connecting. Um, Let me see if I can
Mm-hmm.
find some other examples
Mm-hmm.
of student work. Because I sent you links. So let me share. Some of the student work I have, some of it is not incredibly good. So they're not all, but let's see what people did here.
Mm-hmm.
So these are studies that work toward yeah, that's kind of primitive, right? So if I were just doing, it's interesting because this woman looked at the second floor and she decided this is how she sees it. Really, the living room at the center. In a way, this tells something about how you see the space. So to her, the living area was a big part of it. And look at how she represented the kitchen. She just put little line that says cook. Huh? That's funny. So, and these are the block diagrams.
Mm-hmm.
I can send you. I'm going to send this to you and not to the rest of the class because you have the time disadvantage, but I don't want you to be to, let's see what I have. me do a new share.
So when we need to finish this work, like the
Oh, Folio 2, I put everything for the end of the semester. So Folio 2 is not going to be done until sometime in April. Usually goes 5 weeks, 10 weeks, and then the final one.
oh,
But I'm not, I'm not that particular. Let me try again to share that screen.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm going to email this to you.
Yeah.
And this is last year. It's 2 years old.
Mhm.
Whatever. I might add some other stuff to it.
Oh, I got it.
Got it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see what people are doing with it, and if you want to skip ahead and try something on your own, feel
Mhm.
free to do that, and just ask me questions about it. Okay?
Mhm. So this is just like the drawing and like the color one for the section drawing with the kitchen.
Yeah. The section drawing we just took, like what I'm asking people to do with the magazine, I already did for the kitchen. I never tried the magazine exercise with the class before, but I think this is a really strong class. So I think you can manage the magazine. I think is going to be something that's going to be a really positive,
Mm,
going to generate some really good results.
yes.
I think it'll be fun. You have magazines, right?
Yes, yes. And I can like search some picture
Yeah,
online and
yeah,
do it.
yeah. Whatever you want, and I'm collecting classwork. So the more I get, if there's something in particular you want to see, just email a question about it and I'll put it together for you. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I just worry about like if I have some like miss some work, can you just like email me? Because
Of
I
course.
already put like my all work on the website. I'm not sure if there
Yes. Let me look at. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you did all this. You did all this work. So when these other exercises are going to be part of Folio 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's still on Folio
yeah.
too.
Whenever there's something you want to look at, just put a drawing there, and then I can look at it and tell you what I think you should do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So this
yeah.
is kind of like back and forth between us.
Okay. So
right?
yeah, maybe just like before the next week,
Yeah.
I just put the bubble drawing and today's work and the like the magazine ones.
Yeah, begin the magazine if you can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you can use next week to do it because we're not going to have class.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
For the maxing one, we need to join like two. Like first one is just like the black and white, like the line one, and the other one it's like have the color one.
Yeah, but what you're going to do with the black and white is you're going to scan it so that you can make copies.
Oh yeah.
This way, if you make a mistake and then print it out on white paper, then you're gonna color the white paper.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, idea.
All right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, Anna. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.